So guys, because it's the off season for the Bulls, but because it's still an exciting time in the NBA given we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs, occasionally I'm going to be coming out with some non-Bulls related content. Although this video, I actually am going to tie it back to the Bulls, which I'll get into in a little bit. Now, I tried to do some general NBA content around the time that I started this channel. I did a video on the Warriors and then on Kobe Bryant on the anniversary of his passing, and it wasn't that well received, which I get. I think most of my viewers are Bulls fans and they want to see Bulls content specifically, but I had multiple people reach out to me about this topic to get my thoughts and asked that I make a video on it. And trust me, I'm just as frustrated as you guys are on this and wanted to share my take. So let me know how you guys feel about some occasional non-Bulls related topics on this channel throughout the off season anyway. Of course, I will still be sticking primarily to Bulls news and information. So let me know in the comments. And with that said, let's get into the topic of this video. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So after a horrible loss to the Orlando Magic on April 15th, less than a month after the Bulls had traded with the Magic to bring in Nikola Vucevic, the Bulls had really hit rock bottom in their season. It was their fourth straight loss, and they had just come off bad losses to the Timberwolves and Grizzlies, and that trade that had initially looked like it was going to be just the right push for the Bulls that they needed in getting to the playoffs was clearly not panning out for them as they had expected. Now, the following day after that game, the Bulls really hit rock bottom after receiving some crushing news that their star and best player Zach Lavine had entered into the NBA's health and safety protocol, and he would be out for at least 10 to 14 days as a result, which was typical for players who entered into the protocol. Now, it was later confirmed that Lavine did in fact test positive for COVID and ended up not returning to the lineup until May 6th, where the Bulls beat the Hornets in a dominant fashion. It also coincided with the same game that Vucevic had returned after a minor injury that kept him out for a couple of games. So Lavine ended up missing well over the anticipated 10 to 14 days. Now, obviously, we'll never know what would have happened, especially given the Bulls were struggling post-trade deadline even when they did have Lavine. But based on how the guys were playing together after he had returned, and to see that chemistry of the group finally starting to come together, I am of the opinion that the Bulls would have, without a doubt, at least made the play-in had Zach never fallen into the NBA health and safety protocol. But that's neither here nor there at this point. Zach missed considerable time, and the Bulls came up short of even making the play-in. Now, normally I wouldn't be mad about something like this because the NBA has established clear rules and guidelines for players around the health and safety protocol. Things that they can do and things that they cannot do, how long they're expected to be out as a result of going into the protocol, whether it be for contact tracing or an inconclusive test, or even testing positive for that matter. And then of course, players were also subject to being fined if they deliberately chose not to obey the rules set in place by the NBA. Now, yesterday, a report came out that Lebron James had violated the protocol, the NBA's health and safety protocol, by attending an event according to the NBA, which was first reported by Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. As you can see here, LeBron, as well as some other celebrities, attended a promotional event for a tequila brand for an outdoor photo shoot, and the attendees, including guys like Drake and Michael B. Jordan, had to provide proof of vaccination or a recent negative test result in order to attend. Now, LeBron has declined to say whether he has in fact received a vaccine for COVID-19. And for this event, he was unwilling to provide a recent negative test. Now, I'm not going to sit here and debate on whether LeBron got the vaccine, whether he should have got the vaccine. That's more of a political topic, and I try to stay away from politics on this channel. But what's concerning to me is that the NBA, despite all of this, knowing that he violated the NBA's health and safety protocol, they chose to do nothing about it and just look the other way. Not a suspension, not forcing him to fall under the NBA's health and safety protocol, not even a fine or a warning, no punishment whatsoever. And, to me, that is completely unacceptable, and the NBA should be ashamed of themselves for giving this kind of preferential treatment, all in the name of what generates more revenue for the league. Look, I get it. This is a business. The goal of the NBA, like any other business, is to make as much money as possible. And of course, LeBron James is the face of the entire NBA and really has been so ever since around 2008. This is his league. He alone brings in a ton of money for the NBA. So I'm not surprised when the NBA does give him preferential treatment, whether it's at an executive level or all the way down on the court with the refs. Like, I get that. It's annoying as hell, but this also has gone on for the NBA for decades now with the faces of the league. I mean, as Bulls fans, we can't really complain too much about this when the league definitely gave Michael Jordan preferential treatment for so many years when he was the face of the league. Like, we were direct recipients of that as fans. But here is what I take issue with in this situation. And I'll try not to get too political when explaining this, but I might have to a little bit. But the issue here is that this is a matter of public health. You're putting other people at risk, other players at risk, and risking them missing time from the court because of your selfishness and arrogance. This isn't like giving one guy preferential treatment for causing a fight at a game and getting a reduced suspension because you're the face of the league, or you make a derogatory comment off the court about a player and you get a slap on the wrist as a result, whereas some other players might get a suspension. Although these things shouldn't be tolerated, but those matters don't impact others. It's just yourself. But when you put other people at risk knowingly, and the NBA finds out about it and just says, you violated the policy, don't do it again, that is ridiculous to me. Because look, at a point, I understand when a business is solely focused on making money and turning an even greater profit, but there also comes a time where ethics have to go into place, and just doing the right thing, whether it's for the good of the rest of those involved in the business at hand and for the community at large. And this is one of those instances where preferential treatment should not be given, no matter who it is or the circumstances. I don't care that the Lakers are about to kick off the playoffs and missing LeBron would likely be bad for the league in terms of their TV ratings. I don't care if you have historically given high caliber players a pass or preferential treatment. The way you have been approaching the rules of the protocol, those are applied to all players and should be carried out to all players. And guys, I'm not saying I support every measure and rule in the NBA health and safety protocol. You can argue it's probably a bit more strict than it needs to be, and I wouldn't even care if the rules were different, or say they didn't even have a health and safety protocol in place and the players could do whatever they wanted. That's fine. But keep it consistent for every player in the league and not pick and choose who the rules apply to and who it doesn't, because it impacts your overall business. For Bulls fans, we would have loved Lavine to come back when he wanted to, when he was feeling better, but he hadn't been cleared to actually return. He could not come back. But that's the way it was handled for all the players throughout the season. And yes, I know the circumstances are different here, given the fact that Lavine actually tested positive for COVID, whereas LeBron just attended an event that violated the health and safety protocol. But the fact of the matter is, one player, because of his status, the league chose to give him a pass. And to me, that is completely unacceptable when it's a public health matter, when you're putting other people's lives at risk, all for the sake to make a few extra bucks. I love basketball. I love the NBA. I love following the NBA. I've been a huge fan of the NBA for a long time now, but this is a bad look for an organization that prides itself on equality and helping others out in their community. I want to know what you guys think, though. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal about this than it needs to be. Let me know in the comments. Guys, as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, or maybe even if you're not a Bulls fan, as I'll probably start doing some occasional non-Bulls related NBA content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. As always, we appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one.